it's just super convenient. It's not going to be convenient when you're in that hospital bed at 50 with diabetes. Yo, look.
Welcome to We Got Talks. Today's talks are going to be about food in America. We're going to be looking at food in other countries and comparing it to America. We're going to be talking about what's so bad about it. Why does the US do this? We're going to be looking at if it's so bad, why do people still eat it? And then we're also going to be looking at what individuals can do to stay away from this, solutions to their diet so that they don't have to have this food in their body. So my name is Zach. I'm joined here with Rafa.
Eh,
And Rafa, why don't you start us off? Tell us about how does most of the world deal with the issue of food or the topic of food?
So I'm Brazilian and I take vacations frequently there over the American summer, which is the Brazilian winter. And when I'm there, I stay with my cousin and she's in high school right now. And basically, how the food system works there is she actually goes to school a lot earlier, so 7 a.m. ish. She's in school. 7:30, she's in school, and she's out by 1:30. So every single day she comes home and eats with our family. We all eat together, like a home cooked meal, a good, healthy meal. Another country that I haven't been to, but it's a well-known example, more well-known than Brazil, is Spain, where they shut down literally everything for lunch. They shut down everything for like 2 hours. People will take lunch, they take a nap, you know, which is a very different reality than we have in the US, right, Zach?
Yeah, I think that kind of gets into like the work culture. Like even in like Japan in the stock market, they'll shut off the stock market for like an hour in the middle of the day for a lunch break. Whereas in the US, like if you're on Wall Street, you have to scarf down a greasy pizza that you DoorDashed in 15 minutes. You don't have an actual break. And I think that's just the work culture. Like, even though like eating is a necessity, like Americans kind of treat it as like just like some you just gotta kind of do it and get back to work.
Yeah, I feel like Americans, with their cultures, like they want to get all their work done as soon as possible so they can go home, you know?
Yeah.
Because what happens in Brazil is, with my cousin, for example, I'll use this example again, is they actually do a lot of homework. So I feel like in the US, we don't have as much homework because we spend more time in school. But in Brazil, they prioritize like, oh, let's have this healthy habit of, being social at lunch and actually taking our time. Um, and then we can do work later, you know? We don't have to do it all just as quick as possible and like you said, scarf down a pizza, in 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. One thing that's actually really interesting is that there is 950 substances that are common in US foods that are not even allowed in Europe, which is crazy. I mean, I think that comes even back to the work culture. I think for the US, it's just you got to get your calories in, you got to get all your nutrients in. It doesn't matter how you get it, you just got to get it in. Like it's not a luxury. Like in other countries, I feel like you people really try to get healthy food in and like, support your body. Whereas in US, it's kind of like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, I have to eat. Let me eat real quick. Just scarf down some food and then get back to work.
Yeah, adding on to that, two specific chemicals that I found that were cited very frequently were potassium bromate, which is found in breads and flours to make them fluffier, which is known as a carcinogen, and it is banned in the EU, Canada, and Brazil. Titanium dioxide is used as a whitener in salads and for salad dressing and Skittles, and the EU banned it in 2022 because they ruled that it could damage your genes. So, I mean,
I
this
mean,
is
those two
just,
things sound like stuff I'm using in my chem lab. Like I'm mixing
yeah.
those chemicals and they're telling me I cannot eat this or else I'll get fail the class.
I mean, it's
So I
just
mean,
ridiculous. Like, you just
yeah.
hear those two names, and it does really seem like it should be something in a chem lab, not what our 15-year-old kids should be consuming, for
Yeah, it's
lunch.
crazy. Another thing about the US is that 60% of calories consumed by the average American come from ultra processed foods. And this leads to 3 out of 4 Americans being categorized as overweight or obese, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, when we're talking about culture, I think this also plays into it because I feel like in the US, there's this culture where like you just want to get as many macros. You want to get your calories and protein in, your carbohydrates in, your fats in, but you don't care how you get them, you know?
Yeah.
You could have a protein bar that's made in a chemical lab, has nothing healthy, but it's low calorie and high protein. So
Yeah.
we're gonna assume that's great to eat. But I think the reality is a lot deeper than that, right?
You want natural foods. You don't want like you want stuff that was made naturally, not in a laboratory. Like when there's all these chemicals and sweeteners and preservatives in it, it's not going to be good for you. Your body's not meant to consume that.
Yeah, which brings us into an interesting comparison here where in the US, the average weight of a woman is 171 pounds, and in Japan, the average weight is 116 pounds. Just for reference, Japanese women are only 1 inch shorter.
Dang.
I mean, that is such a huge difference. I only can't believe it can be contributed to our food and lifestyle.
Definitely. It's just the culture of yeah, 100%. Looking at one thing I was thinking about is if you go to a gas station in America, there is you have to it's gonna be a hard time finding something that was made naturally. Almost everything's made in the lab, has a shelf life of 17 years, 75 different ingredients in it. Like you're not finding anything natural in there. Maybe you'll find a banana with 13 GMOs, but you're not finding anything natural in there. And then in other countries, like if you go to a gas station, it's all natural stuff.
I dare you guys to go to a 7-Eleven in the US and try to find something healthy. It's it's basically impossible. But you can go to some of these other countries. I've seen, for example, Thailand, and they actually have like fresh fruits and vegetables, like actual good food you should be eating. Which again, like why is the US, why are we, it brings us the question, why are we giving this, why is the food available?
I mean, it's just the work culture, bro. Like if you're at a gas station, okay, you're filling up gas. Yeah, let me just scarf down some Rice Krispies real quick. Get some calories in, back to work. You know what I mean? Back to wherever
Yeah.
I was going.
You don't want to waste any time
Yeah.
like actually trying to eat the healthy food. You just want to get back to work. Let me get back to work and
Yeah. I
finish
mean,
this out.
so now if we look at why might this be justified? I mean, it does make sense. Like the US is a very the work culture in the US is very strong, but that obviously is going to come with its consequences, which is, you know, less healthy people. But yeah, I mean, it's cheaper to make this food. It's easier to distribute because it has all these preservatives. It can sit on a shelf for a long time. So there is reasons why it's like there's a reason why companies make it. It's just there's other side effects that you have to look at that the US decides aren't worth the trade-off.
Do you think that this is a fair decision to make, or does the US need to shift their their process and culture?
Well, I think obviously this the side effects aren't something that aren't instantly seen, right? Like um these negative health effects are stuff that, we've been slowly seeing over decades. So it's not something the US sees instantly. But I do think that this problem is going to become bigger and bigger, and eventually they're going to have to address it, and start finding solutions to this problem on a macro level. And another thing, going back to that, like it's cheaper to make. This is an example for me is whenever I go to like a pod market on campus, I'll notice that the healthy food, even though it's like so much smaller, is way more expensive. Like for example, a That's It bar it's like a bar with just like two fruits in it, and that's all it is. It's just two fruits smushed into a bar, and it's like $3, and it's like very small. Or on the next shelf, you'll see Pop Tarts that are $1.50 and 5 times bigger. And it's just because it's like the Pop Tarts can be cheaper because they're so much cheaper to make. Even though it's way more food, it's just made in a laboratory. It's way easier to make than getting two apples and smishing it into a bar.
Yeah, but in the long term, the US has one of the highest healthcare expenses. Can we cut down those expenses by instead of feeding this unhealthy food, just actually, if we eat healthy food now and give our citizens healthy food, live healthy lifestyles, we'll have to spend a lot less in the future and we'll actually be saving money. It's just a harder decision to make in the short term
Yeah.
because there's going to be a big investment in the short term to make that possible. But for the long term gain, I think it would be a greater gain for
Yeah,
our
but you
society.
also have to look at it's gonna like the whole reason why the US is such a strong, you know, like it has such a dominant, global impact is because they're willing to make sacrifices. Like other countries aren't gonna have 15-minute lunch breaks because they want to have a better well-being, but that's going to come with consequences, and that's something that the U.S. has to weigh. Now it's pretty obvious why it's unjustified. I mean, it's bad for your health, and another thing that's happening is the U.S. is also starting to give pills to people, to fix the health problems that's caused by bad food, which I think is like crazy. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like all I see nowadays is ads for GLP-1s, which you guys didn't know it's Ozempic and it's a Ozempic, sorry. It's a weight loss drug. So now we're promoting instead of, you know what, let's go to the gym. Let's work hard. Let's get better eating habits. You know, you can eat whatever you want. You can eat the burger, you can eat the pizza, but you can take this little pill and you'll lose the weight, which is just not sustainable in the long term. Obviously, it's not good for your body. Your body's not just about the weight and the macros. It's about what you're consuming.
yeah,
So we're just trying to suppress this long-term issue with these pills, which is just not a good way to go about this, I think.
yeah. You're just slapping duct tape on the
Yeah.
leak.
And eventually it's gonna
Yeah, yeah.
break. It's gonna
Yeah.
break eventually.
So let's go into more about what's actually so bad about it. We've been saying it's so bad, but what actually is so bad about it?
I think there's two main points to bring up when we're thinking about why fast food is bad. The first one is the Yale Food Addiction Scale is a study and it shows that people who have tried to quit fast food experience actual withdrawal symptoms similar to those of smokers. Second point I wanted to bring up is something called the bliss point. The bliss point is a term used to denote what food scientists at companies like Nestle and PepsiCo spend millions of dollars to find the exact ratio of salt, sugar, and fat that triggers the maximum dopamine spike without making you feel full. Sorry.
That's crazy. So I mean, there's scientists out there getting paid millions just to make you as just to make the food get all the milligrams right to make it as tasty as possible. I mean, there's no wonder it's so addictive. But
Yeah.
I guess that the question we have to ask now is just because it's addictive, does that actually make it bad?
First off, I want to say, add on to your point, guys, there are scientists, people that are very educated, spending their whole lives just figuring out that perfect ratio to addict you to these things. But guess what? A banana is a banana. You grow a banana, you get a banana. There's no one editing the chemicals trying to make you addictive. So that's something very, very dangerous, guys, that you have to be looking out for and understanding. This fast food, it isn't just some people with good intentions trying to feed you food. It's someone trying to addict you to their product so you can consume as much as possible and they can make as much profit as possible off you. So I just wanted to add that. So everyone just be careful and be aware of that.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, Zach, do I think it is as bad as people make it seem?
I was saying just because it's addictive, does that make it bad?
Yeah, I would say I think it is pretty bad, even though maybe we can't see the effects. Like if some kid eats Chick-fil-A right now, a 19-year-old, you're not gonna be able to see like, oh, that kid eats Chick-fil-A, but that kid eats healthy, you know?
Yeah, you can't it's not obvious right away.
It's not
Like
obvious right
the
away.
effects, the underlying effects. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but we don't know in the long term because the generation before us, they weren't eating the foods we're eating, the chemicals
Yeah.
we're eating.
Yeah.
We don't know how this is actually what's gonna happen in the long term.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
would say that's the pretty scary part about this.
Mhm. So I mean, if it's so bad, like there's a reason people eat it. I think that big reason is because, especially with fast food, it's so convenient. Like if you're on the way home from work, you got to get home to the kids, you just gotta stop at McDonald's. Like, do you think that's something that, do you think that's valid, or do you think there's other things that people can do?
I think it's not as valid as people make it seem because it's not that hard to meal prep. And I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, but it costs a lot. Fast food is more expensive nowadays. Second off, it takes a lot of time. Like, yeah, it takes time, but you can separate 3 hours. I've meal prep before for the whole week. I used to do it in high school sometimes, and it takes maybe if you include grocery time, maybe 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours, and you can cook basically meals for the rest of the week and healthy meals. It's not too difficult. So I don't really like the excuse of, oh, well, it's just super convenient. Well, it's not going to be convenient when you're in that hospital bed at 50 with diabetes. It's it's
Yeah,
it's funny to
that's
laugh
true.
at, but it's the truth.
I know. One thing I guess I kind of agree. I was gonna say it's like it's gonna take the equal amount of time to go drive to McDonald's or to just go make the food yourself, but it's gonna depend on are you lazy and are you gonna put it off, or are you just gonna get it done first day of the week, have your food set, or are you gonna be lazy, wait till you're starving and have to go get food because you don't have anything prepped? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's like you either pick the harder thing now, which is to go to the grocery store on a Sunday,
Yeah.
cook your food, or you just watch Netflix that day, and
Yeah.
then the next day, when you're hungry,
DoorDash a burger.
go drive to McDonald's 20 minutes for your lunch shift and eat a burger.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it does have its place. Like, obviously, people need to eat, and sometimes that's all you're gonna have. If you're driving on the highway, you might have to stop and just get like a little McDonald's. So it does have its place, but I just think people eat it just out of pure convenience, like when they don't have to.
Yeah,
People will have hours of their day available, and they'll still choose to go to this unhealthy fast food place. And there's just no
exactly.
reason. There's no reason,
Yeah, I would go even as far to say that, like, dude, why isn't fast food illegal? Because
really.
we're basically poisoning ourselves. Like, I'm not saying I'm some perfect guy. I eat fast food too, guys. I eat bad food because I'm human. But why are we allowing fast food? Like, it's just something bad for you, you know?
Well, like I said, the convenience. I mean, obviously there is other food that
Yeah.
can be made fast, like an apple. Like it's already made for you. It's pre-made. You know what I mean? But I do agree. I think just the fast food, the stigma behind fast food, it shouldn't be that the word fast is associated with unhealthy.
Mm,
There should be
yeah.
fast food that can be good for you, but it
Yeah,
just doesn't
why
seem
can't
like
we have a healthy fast food chain, you know?
yeah.
Because okay, you might pay a little bit more price, but you won't
Yeah.
pay that price in the future of the medical
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people need to think about the long term, not just the short term
Yeah.
price of buying that cheap McDonald's $3 meal burger.
Yeah. I guess one thing we can talk about is if it's so bad, why do people still eat it? I mean, obviously we talked about, for example, like with normal people who work, but if we talk about like, for example, college students, we're both college students. How would you say like what is the main reason why people eat it on your campus?
The main people reason, well, I would say two things. Late nights, there's only unhealthy places open
Yeah.
because it's only fast food places open and fast food is unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's number one. College students tend to stay up late, they tend to go out, and then you want to get a quick bite. What's going to be open? Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So you can get your daily dose of red 40, blue 80 at Taco Bell. The second reason I'm going to mention is, I mean, obviously it just tastes good, and like a lot of people want to, like, they get the bonding with other people there.
Yeah.
Oftentimes,
Yeah.
like groups of people go out to eat at like Panda Express here, you know? I would say those are the main two things, really, just because it tastes good, emotional bonding, and like hours.
So yeah, I think I agree with what you said with like how it just tasty. I feel like the whole college, lifestyle is I just want to get dopamine quickly, you know what I mean? So people just want unhealthy food. They just want to stuff it down their face, and it's just gonna taste good in the moment. Obviously, it's not gonna be good for them, but who cares, right? It tastes good. And yeah, I think that's definitely a big reason. I feel like they might know it's bad for them, but they're not seeing any immediate effects. So it's like, okay, who cares? It tastes good.
Dude, it's crazy when I go into my dining hall because there's one healthy option usually per day, like
Yeah,
one healthy station. Like some other
yeah.
stations can be healthy, but they're not like guaranteed healthy. But the one healthy option, we got the driest piece of turkey breast on planet Earth. It maybe takes 20 bites to eat that and digest it. But now I walk over to the dessert bar. We got soft serve ice cream, we got cookies, we got brownies, we got cake. It's insane, bro. Why are we not
Yeah,
prioritizing healthy options when we
yeah.
have a huge dessert bar, you know?
I think one thing I was thinking of is yeah, you said like sometimes at like late at night, only thing that's open is Taco Bell. But I feel like even in the middle of the day, students they'll walk past the dining hall to go get to Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll take the extra step to get the worst food. I feel like obviously like the school probably doesn't help by having all these unhealthy options available, but still the students are seeking out the unhealthy food because they don't see any bad effects of it. They're not eating Taco Bell and the next day feeling like terrible. It's
Yeah.
something it's an underlying issue.
Because they're not experiencing it right now because they're
Yeah.
so young and their body can adapt. Like a
Yeah.
21-year-old can drink a bunch, and they won't feel anything
Yeah.
because their liver is young, it's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but in the long term, it'll do a lot of damage.
So I think one thing that's interesting is I feel like with a lot of these habits, as you get older, you kind of just phase it out, right? But I feel like you said, since fast food is something that's actually the withdrawal symptoms are similar to those of smokers. Like, what if it gets to a point where college students like, or like they can't stop their habits of eating terribly?
Yeah,
That
that
could
could
be a big
definitely
issue.
happen
That could be a
because
big issue.
people in the workforce, a lot of people in the workforce eat unhealthy fast food. So like
Yeah.
while other habits like partying every weekend might fade out because you're not gonna be 35 with kids and be partying. Most likely. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
In the bar, I mean.
You never know. You never know.
You never know. But if you want to do that, guys, you do you. I'm not here to do
Yeah.
that. Just to give my opinions. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's gonna fade out most likely. You know, if you
Yeah.
smoke a little marijuana, that'll fade out hopefully
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're older. But fast food, that there's no reason for that to be cut out, you know? It's part of culture, it's part of normal daily life.
Yeah.
Which is definitely the scary part about this whole
Yeah.
topic, I'd say.
I guess now let's look at a high school's lunch menu.
This is our
Um
high school, by the way, guys.
yes, this will be our high school lunch menu. I'm pulling it up right now. So let's go through. So let's say today is a Wednesday, right? Let's see what they're serving for lunch. We got a chickenless bite with roll.
Oh, what is a
Think about
chickenless
that for a
bite?
second.
What is that?
Man, what the fuck is a chickenless bite?
Dude, isn't the whole point of the bite to have chicken in it?
I couldn't even tell you what that is. All right, moving on. We got a patty melt. Any ideas
What's
what
what's
that could
that?
be?
What's a patty melt? I don't know.
I'm looking up what a patty melt is.
We got some.
Actually, it looks pretty good,
What is it?
but it's like a grilled cheese. But I'm
Okay.
sure, based off what I've seen, I know that does not look the same at high school. Probably thousands of chemicals in it. So greasy. I mean, all right, what else? We got a deep dish pizza. Nice. We got mashed potatoes and gravy, and we got barbecue herbs drumstick. So, if you're a healthy student, Rafa, what are you getting from this menu?
I am fasting until I get home.
Yep, that's the right answer. There's
That's the answer right there.
nothing healthy on this list.
The one
I
thing
mean, to
that's
be
so
fair, yeah, I was gonna say,
sorry,
to be fair, a lot of people do they do bring home food from home, which is a
yeah.
smart thing. But if you don't have that luxury of being able to, make food in the morning, you're cooked. You're done. You gotta fast.
An interesting point is it's gonna be so hard for like a high school to cook a healthy food for a big amount of students, right?
Yeah.
And that's why like other countries like Brazil works so well because it's your family just cooking for the group of people, like 5 people, you know? So
Yeah, it's true.
it's such a challenging thing
Yeah.
for a school to feed. Our high school had 2,000 students, about
Yeah.
500 per lunch. It's so challenging to feed 500 people actual healthy food, like and
Yeah,
produce
that's
it at
crazy.
mass quantities, you
They're
know?
giving out 500 meals in 30 minutes. Like that,
Yeah,
that's not gonna be, it's
it's
not
so
gonna be
easy
good
to throw
food. It's
some
not.
chickenless bites on the
Yeah, they
oven.
have to make some
Toss them
chickenless
up.
bites. What the fuck is that?
Uh,
They're not making they can't make the food in the flight. They have to make it days in advance and just shovel it out to 500
yeah.
students. It's insane. The lines would go, that's a 200 person line.
But hey, it has protein and
Yeah,
calories, right? So
got
that's
some calories and protein. It's got to be good for you, right?
yeah.
No. All right. So now let's talk about we've talked about why it's bad, why people still choose to eat it. But if you're someone who is actually aware of what they're putting into their body, what can you do to avoid, falling into this trap of eating unhealthy food? Because everyone does it. Everyone has it eventually. Even like me and Rafa, we will eat fast food every once in a while because it's part of life. But what if you're someone who really wants to lock in? What is something you can do, Rafa, to stay away from it?
What I would do is first off, I'd start tracking the food I eat. Because when you track the food you eat, you become so much more conscious about what you're putting into your body. So download a free app, start tracking your food. You know, when you type in that McDonald's and you actually see what's in it, you see 20 grams of added sugar in a burger, you're gonna be, you're not gonna eat that again. Trust me. Or very rarely. That's what I do. I think another interesting thing could be to delete like rewards apps because things like apps like McDonald's give you so many rewards, you know?
And I think the notifications, if you're constantly getting like the whole reason they want you to have the app is so they can feed you information. Like
Hmm.
that's why they always give you rewards for signing up because they just want to spam you with stuff and they know it's going to pay
That's
off.
true. Yeah,
It's a
that's
billion dollar company. They're not giving out free stuff for no reason. You know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think if you're conscious about what you eat, Because a lot of times when you're getting fast food, you're not really thinking about it. Oh, I just need some food. Let me eat something real quick. But if you're consciously thinking, dang, I'm gonna have to put this, McDonald's into my tracking app. I'm gonna feel terrible. Like you might not do it. So yeah, I agree with you also with deleting the apps. I think obviously meal prep, and that's something that you just gotta get on top of. That's a lot of I think a lot of people are a lot of really lazy, which is why they don't do that. But if you can, dedicate a Sunday evening, a Sunday night to making, maybe 5 lunch meals, 10 meals maybe for the week,
Yeah.
you'll be good.
I saw another interesting strategy that a lot of people do is when I was talking about fast food's pretty expensive, it, you can track how much money you actually save by eating in. So let's say if you eat chicken, broccoli, and rice, maybe $5 for a meal, $3, pretty cheap.
It doesn't even have to be one thing. I want to cut you off. I feel like when people think of healthy food, they just think, oh, I have to eat chicken and rice, plain chicken and rice. There is so many healthy foods out there that taste amazing. You don't have to eat the boring food. You just eat something that was naturally made. You can have fruits. You can have, chocolate. Chocolate's good for you. As long as it's not thousands of chemicals in there,
As long as
it can
it's
be good for you.
dark chocolate, like
Yeah. There's plenty of foods. You don't have to associate bland food with healthy. It's not the case. It
yeah,
isn't.
and the reason that healthy food tastes bland is because you're eating so much fast food with that perfect ratio of chemicals
The bliss point.
that yeah,
The chem
no
yeah.
wonder just a regular piece of food's gonna taste like trash. You've been having some ultra dopamine food, you know?
Yeah. Go back to what you were saying though about the how like it costs
Yeah.
$5 for a pound.
An interesting strategy that I've heard people do is let's say if you're gonna spend nowadays, if you're trying to get McDonald's just like a meal, it's probably like $13. Versus if you eat, I'm just giving for example, a healthy meal of like chicken, rice, and broccoli. You're spending maybe $3 to $5 depending on how much you eat. So you can actually start putting those, that $10 you saved, put it in an account, save that towards maybe a trip you want to take. That's definitely something that will motivate you to eat healthier.
Yeah. I think the overarching theme for how you can stay away from it is make the convenience of fast food inconvenient. Like if you're driving home from work, it would be inconvenient to go out of your way to go to McDonald's when you have a meal prepped meal at home. It would
Mhm.
be inconvenient for you to re-download the McDonald's app that you deleted. You know what I mean? It would be
Yeah.
inconvenient to mess up your macros and calorie goals in your app by putting in McDonald's 20 grams of added sugar in a burger. Why does a burger have 20 grams of sugar? Why? No idea.
To
I think
parallel
that,
to that, like
yeah,
being conscious of what you're consuming is so
yeah,
important because when you can understand how this food is made, why it is made, how it is made, you are gonna want to consume less of it. Trust me. Go watch a
yeah,
video. How does McDonald's make their French fries? It's disgusting.
yeah. It looks like they're making
Literally
pencils or
looks like
something.
a chemical
Yeah,
lab. Looks like a
yeah,
chemical lab.
yeah. If you want to really be grossed out, look up the process to make seed oils. It is disgusting. Um, but yeah, I think the overarching, if you're looking to take away something and you want to get out of this fast food trap, you need to make it inconvenient and be conscious about what you're eating. And yeah,
Thank you guys for tuning in for this week's podcast. We have some more interesting topics coming up. Check out our socials and our all other pages in our link tree. Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you for stopping by our talks.
Bye.